What's good, y'all? Welcome to an episode of Buzz Boys. I'm your host, Terry, and it's here, man. It's time. The draft is 2 days away, um, and it's still just as up in the air as it was a few months ago. Um, the Hornets are picking at 6, and we have a lot of options. There's rumblings right now that we could be willing to trade up, try to get up to 3. There's rumblings that, we could be looking to trade down. We could stay at 6. Like, there's just a lot of options. Um, and then, you got free agency looming. Miles Bridges, it's a lot going on right now. You got new ownership, new front office, new coaches, completely new coaching staff. News broke today that we're actually getting a new medical staff. Um, just everything is new right now, and everything just seems to be kind of changing. So we don't even know what this front office is thinking, or really what's going on. Like, who knows? But it's still exciting. Always an exciting time of the year because it's a chance for your team to be able to improve. Um, and I mean, yeah, you always look forward to that. So this episode is gonna be, who do we draft at 6? And me personally, I'm trying to stay focused on what we should do at 6. Not really too many trade scenarios. But that's also a possibility. What should we do with the 6th pick? I think that's what I'm gonna call the video. I don't know, but this video's been a long time coming. I actually hate that I procrastinated and the draft is so close. Because I got a few things to talk about. I got a few. I've been studying. I got pros and cons for how many people is this? One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 people. And this was kind of made. I did some of these before the lottery where I thought we would be kind of in that 3, 4 range, but not too much has changed with us at 6. But anyway, that's enough of that. I'm gonna get straight into it. The first person, who I think we should draft at 6 is gonna be Stephon Castle. Um, to me, I feel like, and these are in no particular order. I did put kind of some of the long shots towards the end, but this is in no particular order. But I mean, for me, I do like Castle. I personally have Castle and Buzelis kind of as my top two that I prefer, and Cody Williams as well. I love Cody Williams as well. I'm just gonna come out and say that right now. I'm high on Cody Williams, probably higher than most. I love Cody Williams. Um, anyway, Stephon Castle, um, freshman from UConn, national champion, has all the intangibles that you want in a guard in today's NBA besides the shot. And it's like the shot can come along, he's gonna be a home run. If the shot comes along, I mean, you're looking at a Drew Holiday, Derek White type player, I feel like, and it's like, who better to get that out of him than new coach Charles Lee, man? Like, yo, so you know, I just can't help but love him, man. 6'6" guard, 215. He comes in, he's ready to play now, bro. Only 19, turns 20 in November. Average 11 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 47% from the field. 76% is a free throw shooter, which does show, he does potentially have, you know, a shot. And he shot closer to 90% towards the end of the season as, the season went on. 27% three-point shooter is his Achilles heel right now, and probably the only reason that he's honestly not in talks to go number one. Um, and I mean, but he still has so many pros to his game, and at only 19 years old, he doesn't have a really fucked up form or anything like that to where he can't be a mid-30 shooter. Um, and I mean, he finishes through contact so well. He actually seeks it out. Like, I mean, if you watch his film, he seeks contact. He wants it. He knows how to use his size advantage to be able to get and ones and just get to the basket and just bully smaller players. In the NBA, You might not be able to do that as often, but at 6'6" as a guard, 215, you can still use your size advantage. Um, and I mean, his on the ball defense, he's probably the best point of attack defender in this class, man. And he defends without fouling. Like, I mean, he's just an excellent perimeter defender. Like I said, probably the best in the class, and that's his selling point right now. And also the fact that I mean he is just willing to buy in and do what he needs to do to win the championship at UConn. He talks about, oh, I sacrificed or whatever. Um, and I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole, but I mean, there are reports that he didn't want to work out for teams that already had point guards and this, that, and his third, and a lot of stuff that was coming out from him and his camp. Well, I don't necessarily want to say from him, but his camp. And at the end of the day, he did work out for us. Like last week or a few days ago, he did work out for us. So at the end of the day, I think a lot of that stuff just is tactics by agents to honestly probably try to get to the Spurs. They don't have a starting point guard really. Um, so, I think that was him trying to get there. Every agent is probably trying to get their player on the Spurs if they can. Um, it just is what it is, but it wouldn't discourage me from taking him, especially at 6. Now, I'm gonna come out and say it right now. I'm not a fan of us trading up to 3. Um, I don't care if it's for Reed. I don't care if it's for Castle. Definitely not clinging. Um, I'm not a fan of us trading up in this draft because it's like all we've been hearing for months is this is the worst draft class of all time, and now all of a sudden teams want to trade up. Like, what's going on? Which is, the narratives are just but I mean, personally, I don't care about the narratives. I mean, I'm just not too high on anybody in this class enough to give up assets to go up. Unless, if we can get just a good ass deal and we don't give up too much, hey, fuck it. But I don't know, I'm not head over heels about going up to number 3. I would rather trade back than to actually trade up in this draft. And I don't want to get too far off track, but if Klingon is there for us at 6, I would use him as a trade asset. If the Grizzlies reportedly want to come up from 9, okay, I'll move down from 9 and take some assets. Let's see. Let's see, what bidding war is possibly there if Klingon's at 6. But anyways, focusing on Castle, man. His on ball defense is amazing. Um, he has meet at the rim blocks, like like he doesn't have the block and steal statistics like a Buzelis or Ron Holland, where the stocks just jump off the stat sheet. But I mean, if you watch the film, I mean, he gets blocks, um, plays passing lanes, gets steals, I mean, his defense is just it's his selling point right now for sure. But I mean, he can score the ball at the end of the day, averaging 11 points as a freshman on a championship team who's repeating at that back-to-back champions, being able to come in and find yourself a role and being able to chip in and it shows that he can score. Um, and he has a nice midi game, bro. Like if you watch his film, bro, you're gonna be impressed. At least I was, man. He has a midi game, he has a floater game, and I mean, he's great at getting downhill, getting to the rim. Once he gets there, he does finish. Um, and he does have willingness and the ability to pass to the bigs or cutters. Um, Now I don't know if he can really run an NBA offense as a starter point guard, but for us, we have LaMelo. He wouldn't be that. He would be a combo guard. Um, and at the end of the day, knock on wood, we all love LaMelo, but if he misses time, hey, Castle, you say you're a point guard, let's see. Um, and it's crazy because Mattis Buzelis, somebody else who I'm going to talk about in this video, was on JJ Redick's podcast, and at this point, this is probably about 10 months ago, probably close to a year. But he was talking about playing the McDonald's All American game, and JJ asked him, who you played with that just like surprised you or whatever. And he named Stephon Castle. He said he's one of the best point guards he ever played with because his passes were amazing and the way that he was just reading defenses and stuff. So I mean, goes to show you, he can be a point guard. And I understand where Castle and his camp is coming from. Like, yo, look, I have a certain skill set and I sacrifice certain things to come into UConn and win a championship as a freshman on that team. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to put myself in that box for the rest of my career if I know that I have the ability to do certain things. So I'm not mad at it, man. I'm really not. And like I said, I wouldn't stop it from drafting. Um, and I mean, you know, he has alley oop dunking ability, passing ability. You know, he is a lob threat, but he can also throw them. There's a lot to like about Castle. I mean, he's 19 years old. The upside is there. It is tremendous. Like he's literally just a jump shot away. But if you watch the film, I mean, he's a confident shooter. He doesn't hesitate at all. There's not a hitch in his shot. He doesn't hesitate. He shoots that shit. Um, and I mean, especially towards the end of the year in the tournament where other teams were pretty much daring him to shoot. I mean, he shot it. Mm. And I mean, he has shown in certain games, the ability to make teams pay for daring him to shoot, which is probably what he's going to have to do at the NBA level for a while until he shows that, he can be a consistent mid 30s percentage shooter. Um, and I mean, he knows how to use the big man in the two-man game. Um, And I mean, like I said, he has the ability to be a combo guard. And I like him, man. He's a good rebounder for his position. He averaged pretty much 2 offensive rebounds per game. Um, so I mean, there's a lot to like about him, and it's like we do need a primary defender beside Lamelo. Brandon's a great defender, and if Brandon's the two, then great. But if we wanted to get somebody else there and run Brandon at the three, I mean, having Castle and Brandon would help Lamelo out tremendously. Um, Now, obviously, the cons 27% 3 point shooter. Um, I mean, he is a confident shooter, but sometimes, he can hesitate to shoot a little bit. Passing up open looks, which can lead to turnovers, because, you pass up an open shot. By the time you pass the ball, they're probably covered, or, it just, people are playing pass lanes at that point because they're sagging off. So, you know, I there is that. And at the end of the day, he shot 27% off the dribble, um, 5 for 17 off the dribble threes. So, the ability to self create is also a question mark. And also, he wanted to be a point guard at the NBA level that, whether you consider that a con or a pro. I made this before, all of this stuff even came out, but once that came out, I did add it to the list. But I mean, some side notes: NBA champ, I mean, national champ. As a freshman, he affects winning. He had the 11th highest plus minus of any freshman in college. So I mean, you come in and you have the 11th highest plus minus as a freshman in the nation, and you won a championship with the team. It goes to show you he can affect women winning and buy into a system. And I don't think he's gonna be somebody that defies. If you can, buy into college to win a ring, you're gonna buy in for an NBA coach who's telling you what to do. Uh, if this is your dream that you've been trying to make it to your whole life, I just can't see him. Like nah, he's gonna buy in, bro. I'm not too worried about that. Um, what was I say? Oh, team was 6 points better defensively with him on the floor. 90 held teams to 95.5 on 101 off. Um, and yeah, I mean, he talked about his ability to buy in to win a championship. And I mean, that to me is a pro, bro. Like, I don't take what his camp was putting out really too negatively, especially considering he did still work out for us. And if he's there at 6, man, you can't deny the fit and what he can do for us, and it's what we need. We need perimeter defending, but he does have an Achilles heel, which is his shot, which is a flaw of a lot of players in this class, especially early on in this first round. So it is what it is. Moving on, the next man up that I already mentioned, Matis Buzelis, um, 19 years old, 6'10", 210 pounds, um, played for G League Ignite this year, averaged 14 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists a game, 45% from the field, and another 27% 3 point shooter. Um, Now, the difference between Castle and Buzelis is that Buzelis had, good shooting history throughout high school, And this was viewed as a slump, a off year in this Ignite. It wasn't expected. He shot in the 40s in high school. Um, so long term, you're not expecting it to be a question mark, which I think is why he's projected to go where he is. And for plenty of other reasons too. He's a great player all around. But I think for Stephon Castle, the question mark is kind of like, will he ever develop a consistent jump shot throughout his career? With Buzelis, you're kind of expecting that he does. Um, and if he does, man, he's gonna be great. Even if he doesn't, even if he is a low 30s, shooter, at the end of the day, he does other things well. I mean, just his intangibles. I mean, he's 6'10". He doesn't have the longest wingspan in the world. It is a 6'10" wingspan. Well, actually, he's 6'8" .75 with no shoes on. They're doing the whole no shoes thing now for the last 2 years. So he's 6'8" .75. So basically, he's 6'9" without shoes. 6'10" wingspan, which isn't the craziest. Usually you want to see a good positive wingspan, with the wingspan being a few inches longer than the person's height, but it is what it is. Mattis just interests me. You know what's kind of crazy? JJ Redick asked him who he modeled his game after, and I promise you, if I gave you a million guesses, 1,000 guesses, you would never guess who he said he modeled his game after. J.R. Smith. Like, yo, what? But he said that was his favorite player growing up. He modeled his game after J.R. Smith. And then, he had a growth spurt or whatever. I don't know, but it's just fucking funny to hear him in an interview say that he modeled his game after J.R. Smith. That shit is hilarious. But anyway, I love Mattis Buzelis. I love his potential at the four for us. He could be a three for certain teams, but I just feel like for us he would be a four. If we keep Miles, I feel like it would move Brandon to the two, Miles to the three, which I feel like is Miles' natural position. At 6'6" or whatever he is, 6'7". Mattis comes in 6'9", and he averaged 2 blocks a game for the Ignite and a steal. So it's just, his stocks, the way that he would be able to affect drives and all of that beside Mark, it's undeniable, bro. But anyway, let's get into the pros and cons. He loves to get downhill, man. He's hard to stop when he does so. Um, he's good in transition, which is something that is great for a team like the Hornets. We do push the pace, especially with LaMelo on the floor. Um, he's a good athlete. He will dunk on you. He does have high flying ability, which you always love to see. Um, and he's not afraid of contact. He will use his size against smaller defenders and even defenders, his size. You want to see somebody who's not really afraid of contact. And he's a confident shooter with a quick release. And like I said, 27% shooter, that's poor. But he shoots it confidently, no hesitation, and some of it I do want to possibly, say it could be the usage rate. I mean, the G League night this year was pretty much Ron Holland and Buzelis, do whatever y'all want, and that's pretty much it. So it just, part of that could be usage rate, or just taking certain shots that he might not be taking at the NBA level as a fourth option on this team. Um, so I don't know, like I feel like he's getting pretty much the benefit of the doubt when it comes to his jump shot. But you can't deny the numbers. It is what it is. Um, but anyway, he is a lob threat. He has good footwork. He's fundamentally sound. Um, if you watch him, bro, he has a little bag. He has a little bag um in the post. He has a good mid-range game, good fadeaway. Um, like, I think he would be a very nice four for us, and just can continue to develop. And I mean, in the Rising Stars game, I still remember, bro. He cooked Brandon, bro. He cooked Brandon Miller, and I was like, who is this guy? And the fact they could end up being teammates would be hilarious. Um, but yeah, anyway, he has a good mid range game, good fadeaway. He has a good floater. Like, he does so many things well. I mean, if he gets that jump shot to be, I mean, back to where it was in high school, we talk about 40s. Oh man, scary. Um, I mean, I think he's somebody who could kind of project like a Laurie Marketing for us. I mean, he's not 7 foot like Laurie, but I mean, still, you get what I'm trying to say. Um, he has N1 finishing ability. Um, my handwriting's so bad I can't even see what this says. Mm. Oh, even a low post game against bigs. Yeah, he has a low post game. Like I said, he has a bag, man. He can create his own shot. Um, I guess you call him. I don't know if I'll call him a point forward, but kind of, in a way, but he can create his own shot. It wouldn't be something that I would look at him to do often. If we're in a scoring slump, oh, let Mattis cook. Like, I don't know, especially as a rookie. Um, but when you have LaMelo, you're not too worried about that anyway. LaMelo and Brandon move the ball well enough to where you don't have to worry about that. But it is a plus. Um, and a great attribute, he's clutch. I feel he hit a few game winning shots for the ignite. This whole time I'm gonna have highlights over here, so you don't gotta worry about that. But yeah, he's clutch, man. I like the kid, bro. He has heart, and if you listen to him talk about the game or just how he feels, he's a confident kid. Um, and he always seems to have the right answers. And he has full court passing ability. He throws good outlets and stuff like that. And like I said, that's something that just fits the Hornets. That's what we do. We get out and run. He can play make on the wing and out of the pick and roll. Like I said, he can kind of be a point forward for us, whereas which is another reason why I feel like he could be there for us at 6, because with the Pistons at 5, and it depends. Does Clingan go top 5? There's a lot of variables that's going to determine who's there for us at 6. But anyway, with the Pistons, they have Cade, a big guard, doesn't shoot well. They just drafted a Asor Thompson or Amen, whichever, a Asor Thompson, um, point forward, can't shoot at all, doesn't shoot well. Are you gonna drop in somebody like Buzelis, who is another, big point forward who can't necessarily shoot well? At least the statistics from his season in the G League are saying he doesn't shoot well. Um, I could see the Pistons going in a different direction. And I know, I saw something, bro, where like his agent has like connections to the Pistons or just whatever. Like I don't know. I saw some stuff. Um so I mean, you never know what's happening, in those backroom deals or just whatever. Who knows? But as far as the fit, I mean, Cunningham can't shoot. Thompson can't shoot. Jalen Duren doesn't shoot at all. Um, Ivy isn't the best shooter. Like nobody on the Pistons can shoot except for Isaiah Stewart. He's Beef Stew is the Pistons' best shooter. Um, And I mean, I don't know. I could see the Pistons going in a different direction. I really could. Um, I really could. And I've seen him out there so much, but does it make sense? I don't know. But yeah, he can play make. His defense, the blocks, 2 blocks a game, a steal a game. I love it because it leads to transition opportunities. He can guard 1 through 4. He can switch. Him beside Brandon, beside Mark, Miles. I mean, he's a great modern NBA pick for us. If his jump shot develops consistently, and I mean, he's gonna get open looks. Lamelo will find him. It would be great. He stays down on closeouts. He's not a bunny. He's not too antsy. He's a great help defender. I mean, there's a lot of things to like. If you're not familiar with them, I wouldn't blame you if you didn't watch a lot of the G League Ignite or just the G League in general. Um, Go watch his film, man. I am high on Buzelis. I do like him a lot. And if Castle isn't there, he's the selection I would make. If they're both gone, then obviously we're gonna go in a different direction. That's what I'm gonna get to next. But his cons, he doesn't have the strength to necessarily stop players his size or bigger, which is why it's like I don't know if he would be ready to be small ball 5 or anything like that. He can guard threes, and I feel like he would be all right versus most fours. I mean, there's some highlights where, in the G League, it's grown men in the G League, bro. And, he's playing against Kenneth Fareed. That was the man and boy. That used to be the man. He was cooking him. So, I think he's going to be able to hold his own. But there is some times where, he doesn't necessarily have the strength to stop, players his size or bigger. Um, Obviously, 3-point shooting, shot 27%, 24 for 88. So, I mean, 88 threes, like, volume was there, but I mean, it can improve. And, his dribbling does need work, but I mean, that's not going to be the thing that he's going to be doing the most if we draft him. Size notes, he loves watching film. He watches a lot of film. I'm telling you right now, this video is probably going to run long. It's probably going to be about 45 minutes. So, if you stay with me, I love you. Um, he talked about he watches all of his plays back. He's into advanced stats and metrics, which I love. He uses synergy, advanced analytics to kind of, see what he should have did at certain plays and what's going on. And in a teenager, 19 years old, who could be out doing any and everything, especially knowing, hey, in the next year I'm going to be in the NBA. He doesn't have to be watching film the way that he says he does. And, like, I love that. And that's what makes me feel like his 3-point shot will come around. Because if you really are that dedicated already off the court with your own time, on the court, you're going to be putting in that work, bro. He's going to develop that jump shot. He, he loves to see what he does wrong on film. Um, like he wants to correct his mistakes. He doesn't like to make the same mistake twice, and that's just he says the right things in interviews. He says what you want to hear from a 19-year-old prospect, which I love. He talked about how his favorite player in the class is Stephon Castle, which is interesting. Like I said, that was 10 months ago before Castle went to UConn. Anything. Um, he did talk about that. So I would say go watch that interview he had with JJ Redick. But I mean, even his more recent interviews, I like him, bro. I think he's gonna be a bright kid. I fuck with him, man. Um, and his favorite current players are Luca, Paul George, and Shea Gilgeous. So, you know, he doesn't say he models his game after him, but it's like, he watches, big guys who can handle the ball. So, like I said, he could, be a point forward for us. Um, yeah, I'm high on Buzelis. Moving on, Cody Williams, one of the few people in this class who has pretty much everything that you're looking for when you're taking a prospect high up in the draft. Um, 42% 3-point shooter, 6'8", 7'1" wingspan. So he has that big positive wingspan that you're looking for at these combines and, all the intangibles. Um, the only knock, man, the only knock, and I hate it, bro. On ESPN during the Colorado season, and even now, if you go to ESPN, Cody Williams is listed as 190 pounds. At the combine a few weeks back, he showed up at 178 pounds. Who told him to lose 12 pounds? Why is he losing weight? He has kind of a thinner frame, and I just don't understand who advised him to lose weight. Like, why are you 6'8", 170 something, bro? I don't like that. Why are you 6'8", 178? And you were 190? Like, I just don't get that. Who told you to lose 12 pounds before the combine and thought that that would help you? I don't like that whatsoever. I would like to see him get back up to 190, 195 with muscle. Um so that's the one thing I just don't like. But the kid is 19 years old. His birthday's in November. He averaged 12 points a game, 3 rebounds, um, 1.6 assists, zero point 0.6 steals, zero point 0.7 blocks. So, the numbers don't necessarily do him justice as far as his defensive ability, but, the stocks aren't there as high as somebody like Mattis who averaged 2 blocks and a steal a game. Um, you know, it's not as high. The rebounding for him could be higher as well. At 6'8", I would like to see you averaging more than 3 rebounds a game. Um, but anyway, let me get into what I like about him because there's a lot to like. Please go watch his film. He has kind of dunk anything ability. Um, And people talked about, he's not a freaky athlete or whatever, but man, when I watch his film, I see him jumping out the fucking gym, and I mean, a 7'1" wingspan, you don't even gotta jump that high to dunk. But he has dunk anything ability, he has put back ability, he has dunk on you ability. I love him. He's great in transition, um, with the ball, catching the ball, finishing. Um, Good downhill finisher. Um, like I like the kid, man. But like I said, please go watch his film, bro. Like I am high on Cody Williams, bro. I really am. He's been one of my favorite prospects for a while. Um, and earlier this year, he was a consensus top 5 pick earlier in Colorado season, and he kind of slid. Um, but I mean, if Castle's gone, Buzelis is gone, I have no problem with us choosing Cody Williams, man. And I mean, not to, it doesn't hurt with who his brother is. It doesn't hurt at all. His brother is Jalen Williams of the OKC, the better Jalen Williams. Um, it doesn't hurt at all, but at the end of the day, separate players. But he has good catch and shoot. Um, and that's something that in this draft class, it's rare. I mean, the guys in this class can either shoot and they're poor defenders, or they're good defenders, but they shoot 20 something percent, you know, at 42% from three, has good defense, 6'8", 7'1" wingspan. There's a lot to like with Cody Williams. I mean, the kid's 19 years old. Him having a slight frame isn't the end of the world. You can get in the gym. We've seen Brandon Miller bulk up a little bit. Wemby definitely bulked up, if you've seen pictures of him recently. So I mean, it's not the end of the world. I like what he would be able to come and provide. Just playing off the ball. I like what he can provide. He has a nice floater, especially for his size. Um, and he's good enough to handle to get from the perimeter all the way to the rim. He doesn't have, amazing handles. I wouldn't call him a point forward or anything like that, or expect him to be handling the ball that much at all. But I mean, he had 1.6 assists a game, a little something. But his handle is good enough for him to be able to get downhill and get to the basket. And he has and one finishing potential, even with his slight frame. So I know if he bulks up, man, he's gonna be a dog getting downhill and getting to that line. Um, and he is a lob threat. He is an athlete, man. I've seen people saying he's not that crazy of an explosive athlete, but I mean, when you watch the film, man, he's he's up there. Um, he's not afraid of contact. Sometimes he seeks it, even with his smaller frame, which, like I said, is encouraging to me. I mean, he doesn't let his size or like stop him from being aggressive and seeking that contact, which is like I'm saying, the only flaw for me pretty much with Cody Williams is his frame, and that he averaged 42% on threes, but it wasn't crazy high volume. I think he only shot about 40 something threes or 50 something threes. So, the usage rate off his threes isn't super high. The shot volume isn't super high, but 42% is still 42% for me. I don't care what people talk about. Um he takes advantage of his size versus smaller players. Being a 6'8" wing in college is gonna get you some, I don't want to say easy matchups, but it's gonna get you some mixed matches, and he takes advantage of those with smaller players. um, he has a good midi game. Can use the spin, um, or the shot fake to get to it. Um, and the midi's a lost art, but being able to shoot the three, being able to shoot the midi, I mean, it's good signs, man. And I mean, an open shot is an open shot. If you're making it, I don't really give a fuck. Um, and he'll back guys down and use his push shot like he's legitimate 6'8". And I love that. Like, I just think having him beside Brandon and LaMelo, like that's, a big front court. Um, I mean, big back court, but he'll be in the front court. But I mean, I really am high about Cody Williams. I'm high on it, bro. Like, just watch the film, bro. I love him. Um, he has playmaking ability a little bit, enough to find open teammates. He's not somebody, like I said, who would be handling the ball for us. That's not going to be his role. That's pretty much going to be LaMelo, Brandon, maybe Trey Man, depending on where he's at. Um, but he can find the open guy, and if we choose somebody like him, he's going to get open shots and other people are going to get open shots. He's going to be able to space the floor for us, which is something that we do need, which is why I'm high on him. He can throw lobs, find the big down low, and find open teammates on the wing, which is all I need. Be able to make the simple pass. I don't need a point guard maestro. We have that. Just be able to find the open man, keep the ball moving. That's all I need. His defensive ability, man, he can switch 1 through 4, potentially 4s for now. Like I said, the slight frame, but he can definitely guard 1 through 3 for sure. Um, and I mean, he's a block threat on ball, gets a lot of block shots, deflections, all of that. Um, has chase down block threats. Like I really like this kid, man. He stays down. He doesn't bite on fakes. Same thing I said with Buzelis. He doesn't have bunny hops or anything like that. He stays down. Um, and he has a long wingspan, which leads to steals on ball and off, which is something that you just love to see. Being able to just disrupt another team's offensive flow. It's big in terms of momentum. If you're disrupting them, you're coming down and scoring. It forces timeouts. Um, and now, obviously, getting into the cons, he can improve his handles. He struggles if he can't turn the corner versus guys. He doesn't necessarily have a lot of counters if he can't turn that corner. Um, I have obviously concerns about his frame. His strength, it needs to improve. He can be moved off his spot kind of easily if he's getting guarded by guys who are, bigger, stronger. Um, and only 3 rebounds a game, like I talked about. I don't love that. But at 6'8", 7'1" wingspan, 42% 3-point shooter, I think there's a lot to like when it comes down to Cody Williams. And depending on who's off the board at 6, I mean, I say he's a candidate right there at 6. I wouldn't be mad whatsoever if we chose him at 6, especially if Buzelis and Castle are off the board. Like, if it comes down to Dalton Knecht and Cody Williams and we choose Cody Williams, I wouldn't be mad whatsoever. I would actually be happy. I like Cody Williams a lot. He just has to improve his frame. Moving on, Dalton Knecht, um, 6'6", 215 pounds, solid, just same intangibles as Stephon Castle. He's 23 years old. He just turned 23. I believe his birthday was actually yesterday. Um, no, I don't think his birthday was yesterday. Somebody else's birthday was yesterday. Reed Shepard's birthday was yesterday. His birthday was in April. I'm tripping. But anyway, he averaged 22 points a game, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and some of that actually got dragged down because he was playing through injury at some point in the season. But 47% from the field, 40% 3-point shooter on high volume. He shot 7 threes a game. For context, Reed Shepard shot like 3.6 shots a game, pretty much 4 a game. So I mean, he almost doubled. He's shooting a lot. He was Tennessee's pretty much entire offense, entire game plan, and still was efficient, which is very impressive. Um, he's an elite shooter off the dribble or off the catch. He's a self-creating scorer, which is something that the Hornets could use. I mean, it's not elite to the point where you just give him the ball and say let him cook, but I mean, excuse me. I mean, when you're pretty much a team's whole offense, you learn how to do the shit. Um, but he's a 3-level scorer, man. Like, he's a bucket, bro. I mean, he's a sharpshooter. The midi is elite. He can get to the basket. He's a high flyer too. I there's a lot to like with Dalton Knecht, man. And like I say, he's efficient with a high usage rate, which is always a good sign. He has the ability to just take over games, multiple 30-point games, even 40. In college, man. I mean, that does not happen a lot. Like, just being explosive, just taking over games. I mean, dude, and the teams that we saw him do it against is what really impresses me the most. The numbers are impressive, but if you go and watch highlights and you go and just watch the film, every time you look at the bottom of the screen, you see who they're playing. It's a top ranked team. Tennessee did not have a cakewalk schedule. They were playing the best teams in the country often, and he was cooking. I'm a UNC fan, bro. I'm like, yo, who the fuck is this dude, bro? He was cooking. Like, yo, um, and that's what really gets my respect. He showed up in big games versus good schools. And that's something in college, some of these guys can have the numbers, but if you look at who they played, it's like, is this empty numbers? But for Dalton, man, he's gonna be able to translate to the NBA, just because he was playing NBA level talent in college, um, and at the end of the day, I just like him a lot. He knows how to use his size to get to his shot, to get to his spot. Excuse me. Um, he likes the little low post turnaround. He gets to it. It's kind of similar to Gordon, which is funny, but he likes to get down there to the post, get to his spot using his size, and the same thing. As I said, talking about who was I talking about? I don't know, Cody Williams maybe. That like the size in college, 6'6", 215 wing. I mean, you're gonna be able to bully some guys, especially as an older guy. But it's still great to have. Um, like I said, 3 level scorer, man, can get all the way to the rim. Has the midi bag, great shooter as we know. Like, it's impressive. Watching this film is just genuinely impressive, bro. Like, it really is. like he just did it so often. I mean, he showed up versus the big schools, even in the tournament. He showed up. He showed up, and I mean, he's just somebody who, even if he ends up in a bench role long term, I mean, he's still scary. Um, and he's an athlete, man. He will dunk on you. He will dunk on you. He is a lob threat. Um, but he's an athlete, bro. And like I said, bro, a lot of people, oh, if Reed Shepard was 6'4", 6'5", Dalton Knecht can shoot. He can jump out the gym. He's 6'6", 215. I don't want to say he's a bigger Reed Shepard, because their games are different. But I mean, I can see why he's just shot up draft boards, because if you go back to looking at April, May, even early June, Dalton Knecht was in the 11, 12. All right, I'm back, bro. My phone ran out of storage, even though I deleted so much stuff, bro. It's just time for a new phone. I'm in the process of getting a new phone. I'll probably have one tomorrow. Anyway, with Dalton Knecht, I mean, you look back at older mock drafts, and he was 11, 12, 13, but he's just shot up, because, like I said, in this class, I mean, the bigger guys, I mean, they can't shoot. They're like either size the issue, defense the issue, and I mean with Dalton Knecht, he's not a piss poor defender, um, but at the end of the day, he's not the best defender in the world. But with his size at 6'6", 215, you're like, he should be able to be an average defender. At this level, there is concerns about his defense, but it's not as big as some guys. Um, and I mean, with him being able to shoot, I get why he's moving up boards in this class. And the thing is, he's 23. He can come in and give you something right now, similar to Jamie Jaquez for the Heat. He comes in able to help now. Um, so I mean, I definitely see the attraction there. Um, Solid frame, allows for finishing through contact and ones. Um, he can get downhill and finish, bro. He's tough and he's solid. Um, like I said, solid frame. But when it comes to the shot, man, the release is lightning quick. He can get it off so fucking fast. Um, I mean, super fast. Like, watching his film is kind of like mind blowing. Like, he's tough, bro. He can hit the midi if he gets ran off the three. And he loves the midi anyway. Like, but if he gets ran off the 3-point line, he's super comfortable shooting it. But I mean, he'll just sometimes get to his spot and shoot the midi because that's what he wants to do. And he can hit the midi contested at the elbow. Like, he makes open shots, contested shots. It doesn't matter. He's just a bucket. But overall, one of the best attributes about him, the kid is clutch. There's certain things that come with being a team's pretty much entire offense, bro. You know you're gonna have the ball at the end of the game, and he made big plays, bro. He's super clutch, bro. Like I said, makes contested threes, closeout don't bother him. Um, I mean, he backs defenders down, hits the turnaround. He knows how to use his size, man. And like I said, he's a three-level scorer. And he can freeze defenders with his ball fake and get all the way to the rim and dunk. And that's some of the things that comes with just being able to shoot, bro. You can get downhill. Like, he's a shooter, he's an athlete, he has the size. He's older, which, for some could be attractive. Um, but I mean, the defense is pretty much the only thing where it's like, but hey, bro, he doesn't necessarily have the high ceiling as some of the younger guys, but I mean, he is a viable option at 6 if some of the guys you like are gone. And even if you trade down, he could potentially still be there. Um, he plays passing lanes. I don't have his stealing block numbers written down in front of me, but I mean, I know it's not too much, but he does play passing lanes. His playmaking it's okay. He averaged 2 a game. Um, he can find the open big or shooter. That's pretty much it. He's not, running offenses and having the ball in his hand whatsoever. He can find the open guy, which is really all we need on this team anyway. Move the ball. And the way that he shoots, somebody's going to be open because you're going to have to pay so much attention to him. And everybody else on the team can shoot for the most part. You leave LaMelo open, you can't. Brandon, you can't. Miles, you really can't. Um, so him being on the team, I mean, I could definitely see it working, man. Um, and his athleticism can lead to blocks. His point of attack defense isn't the best in the world, but I mean, he can recover because of his athleticism. But certain stuff that you can get away with in college, you might not be able to get away with in the NBA when it comes to recovering off athleticism. In NBA, when you're beat, you can just be beat. These guys, everybody here is fast, athletic, all of that at the next level. And that leads into the cons where, he can get beat by quick guards, off quick first steps and all of that. Which is where it's like, you don't want him necessarily guarding a team's best player whatsoever. And so it's like him beside LaMelo is tough. You could potentially put him at the 3 or just kind of try to not necessarily hide him as a defender, but, let him go stay in the corner and guard somebody off the ball. You're not necessarily putting him beside LaMelo and saying, all right, bro, you got, this other team's best guy. No, not at all. And he could be a little late as a help defender. So, it's like his defense is a question mark. There's a reason where some of these prospects are where they are. There's question marks for pretty much every prospect in this draft. He's not a great playmaker. Like I said, he can find the open guy, but he's not a great playmaker whatsoever. For as much as he had the ball, as high as his usage rate is, if he could play make, he had the opportunity to show it. And he could struggle to create space off the dribble. And him not being able to sometimes led to him taking tough shots and making tough shots. But at the NBA level, it's something that could be magnified even more because, like I said, everybody's big, strong, fast, all of that. Moving on to the side notes, he does have a motor on offense and defense. And sometimes that's what defense is all about, bro. Just trying. And that he does. You don't have to worry about him taking plays off and not fighting. And his athleticism allows him to stay in plays if beat. But like I said, at the next level, that might not necessarily work. Dalton Knecht, I like him. Honestly, I hadn't saw too much of him besides when he played UNC in a few games in the tournament. But I watched his film last night. I watched a lot of his film, man, and I loved him. But he is 23. He doesn't have some of the upside. He is who he is. But a viable option if guys are off the board that we like at 6 and potentially trading down. I've seen him in mock drafts, as low as 11, 12, even to Chicago now. So, yeah, and I'm going to go over some mock drafts by some of these big companies at the end. Even though I know this video is long, I'm going to try not to make it an hour, but we might get there. I'm not going to lie to y'all. So if you watch this whole thing through, Trust me, you mean the world to me. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. I should have said that earlier, but it is what it is. Moving on to the next person. And this is somebody who has fell down boards. At one point was viewed as kind of, up there as number one at the beginning of the season, man. Ron Holland, teammates with Buzelis, G League Knecht. He's 6'6.5" in no shoes, so he's legitimate 6'6", 6'7". He has a 6'11" wingspan, which is what you want to see, that positive wingspan, man. He's 18 years old, one of the youngest prospects in this draft. And he was the first player in G League Knight history to average 20 points a game. He averaged the most points per game in G League history. He averaged 19.5, pretty much 20 points. He averaged 6.7 rebounds, 3 assists a game. I mean, you look at the stats, there's a lot to like, man. And I mean, he's 6'8", 205 pounds. He comes in as somebody who, I mean, he has all the intangibles. He's somebody similar to Stephon Castle, great defender, but there's just a question mark with the jump shot, which I think he shot, he shot 24%, even worse than Castle, worse than Buzelis. He shot 24% from three. He has great finishing ability, has a guard type layup package even at 6'8". He has a great layup package. He can finish. He has dunk anything ability. He is an athlete, great athlete, and one potential great slasher on that wing. And despite him shooting 24%, he is a confident shooter, which is always something that you do like to see from these young prospects. Even if their numbers aren't the best, he is a confident shooter. And it's kind of like I said with Buzelis, you give Buzelis 19 years old, Ron Holland 18 years old, pretty much the keys to a team and say, hey, do whatever you want. Some ill-advised shots are going to be taken. And, I'm not going to say all of that is why he shot 24%. The kid might just not be able to fucking shoot. It just is what it is. But he is a confident shooter. He likes to create contact. He will create contact. And, I mean, at 6'8", 200, you kind of got to use that frame, especially as an athlete that he is. He loves to steal the ball. He averaged 2.5 steals per game. And this is what I talked about, kind of like the stocks where, Cody Williams, even Stephon Castle don't necessarily have those steals and blocks numbers. Ron averaged 2.5 per game. He can hit open 3-point shooters or cutters. And, he averaged 3 assists per game. He's not somebody that, I don't think we would necessarily have him handling the ball, but if he brings the ball up every now and then, or just has the ball, it's not the end of the world. And at 18 years old, there's no telling what the kid can grow into. But yeah, he can find open 3-point shooters and cutters, and we got athletes on this team. You put him beside Brandon, Miles. Hey, who knows? He can pass in transition and on drives. There's a lot to like with Ron Holland. And he just kind of sliding, bro. Like, I mean, it's not like he wasn't shooting 24% when he was kind of high in these mock drafts, but over time he just started sliding. But the kid's 18 years old. He has a lot to like, man. He really does. And he could be a steal. He could be a steal for us. I wouldn't necessarily even say at 6, because he's been so low in some of these mock drafts. He could be a great trade down candidate. I mean, in most mock drafts, he's in that 11 range, if not lower. I've seen him as low as 16 out of the lottery. So if you could trade down and get him at 9, 10, I would be happy with that. I really would. He's great in transition, a great transition threat, could fit our style, getting out and running. And Ron Holland on a break with LaMelo having the ball, you got Brandon, you got Ron, Miles, if he stays, that's a scary fast break, bro. The lobs are going to be everywhere. His defense, he loves chase down blocks. He has a very high motor, can get steals, reading offenses, passing lanes, just disrupting dribble handoffs, all of that. He steals the ball. He is, a ball hawk. Like, I mean, he has a lot of great attributes. And like I said, man, at 18 years old, it's a lot to like. He can get steals on an island in ISO situations. So he can be somebody who, similar to Castle, even as a teenager, He can come in and be your team's, one of your team's best defenders. Um, being able to guard 1 through 4 is impressive. And like I said, he can handle being out there on the island in the ISO situation. Disrupts dribble hands off, has a good motor, does the dirty work. You can see him diving for loose balls, doing all of that. And for a kid at 18 years old who at the start of the season has talks being the number 1 pick, when you're watching his film, you're going to hear some of these announcers talk about potential number 1 pick Ron Holland. They say that a lot during his games. He was at one point being taught about going number 1. So getting him even at 6 is good value if he works out. But getting him at 9, 10, 11, 12, oh my God, you're getting a potential number 1 pick, bro. And for him to be 18 years old, know at the moment that he could potentially be a number 1 pick, but he's still diving for loose balls, doing dirty work. It's a great sign for a prospect. Cons, 3-point shooting, obvious. The biggest one, 24%. He shot 12 for 50 from 3-point line. He can play make, but 3 turnovers a game. 3 assists, 3 turnovers. Like I said, you don't really want him handling the ball that much, especially in our offense. He really wouldn't be. He can, but turnovers are there. His finishing is inconsistent. 52% at the rim in half-court situations. Like I said, he's great in transition. Once he's getting downhill, he's moving. He's very hard to stop. He's a freak athlete. In the half-court, his finishing can be a little inconsistent without the head of steam. He was the number 1, and side notes, he was the number 1 draft prospect early on in the season, and he has good value potentially at 6. He has stuff that you can't teach as far as his defensive instincts, junkyard dog mentality that I mentioned, down for loose balls, just shows his high motor, something that you love in an 18-year-old, and also the fact that he is 18. He's eligible for his rookie extension. He's going to be fucking 21, 22. Like, you have to love that. You can't, and he knows what it's like to play with grown men. He has plays, like I said, about Mattis, cooking Kenneth for Reed, playing against grown men. And some of the perks of being in the G League, where being the best player on a team full of grown men at 18 years old, it teaches you a little bit about how to move as a pro, how to operate in the locker room. And like I said, bro, I know his shot percentage is what it is. The kid still averaged 20 points per game, 7 rebounds. He's a good rebounder. There is a lot to like, and I think he averaged a block per game as well. There's a lot to like about Ron Holland. I know he's sliding, but I wouldn't consider him a reach at 6 if who we like is gone. I wouldn't be mad at the Hornets choosing pretty much anybody if that's who they like. If you like the guy, go get him in this draft. I don't really have a problem. There's only 2 prospects who I don't want to see us take at 6 with other people on the board, but really, period. I don't want Nikola Topic, especially after the injury. I definitely don't want him. And Klingon, I don't want him. We have Mark Williams. We have Nick Richards. I don't want Klingon. If we don't choose Klingon or Topic, I'm probably going to be happy with whatever we do. I'm just going to come out and say that I really don't have. I have my preferences, obviously Castle, Buzelis, but whatever happens. I'm not going to be too upset. Moving on, Reed Shepherd. Like I said, I did have a few guys at the end to where, the freaking siren, the odds of him being there at 6 is pretty slim. I don't see it happening pretty much at all, especially considering teams are thinking about trading up to 3 to get Shepherd. He's the best shooter in this draft. He shot 52% from 3. That's crazy. The kid's 20 years old. His birthday was today or yesterday at this point. It is, well, no, it's not after midnight. So his birthday is today. 6'2", 187 pounds. With no shoes, he's 6'1.75. So pretty much 6'2", no shoes. On the court, going to be 6'3". But he is on the small side. Side LaMelo, he scares me. I just don't see him long-term projecting as an all-star, anything like that. I think he could be a good bench microwave piece long-term. But he's a great shooter. He's an elite shooter. And just efficient, period. 53% from the field, 52% from 3. on 3.5 attempts per game from three, 2.5 steals per game. He does steal the ball a lot, which is something that kind of can make up for his size. He has might, he has motor. Average 13 points a game. I'll give the benefit of the doubt. It was 12.5, 13 points per game, 4 rebounds, 4.5, pretty much 5 assists, and coming off the bench at majority of the season, it is impressive. 13 points, 5 assists. Had the highest vertical at the combine. Um, Best shooter in the draft. There's a lot to like about Reed Sheppard, and if he falls to us at 6, I would be mad at all. I would be happy to take him at 6. I don't think there's anybody in this class worth trading up for except for possibly Sar. And even that, it's like, he's not Wemby. But I mean, Reed Sheppard, elite shooter. Um, in every way possible. Elite shooter, 51% on catch and shoot threes, 46% on guarded threes, 57% on unguarded threes. You can't leave this guy open, and it doesn't really matter if you're guarding him either. He's just that good of a shooter. He shot 60% on floaters. So, I mean, with this small stature, and I mean, it's not like the kid's fucking 5'10", 5'8". He's not, bro, he's 6'3" with shoes on. He's not a midget. You know, there was a picture of him and Donovan Mitchell, and Donovan Mitchell was taller than him, and I think Donovan Mitchell was wearing slides. So, like, he is shorter than Donovan Mitchell, but it's not like he's just not gonna be able to play in this league, bro. He's gonna get buckets in this league. I'm not denying that or worried about that, but I'm just really worried about his defensive ability. But 52% off the dribble, period. I ain't just talking about from three. 52% off the dribble, period. 53% midi. So he has that mid-range shot. If he does get run off 3-point line or just getting to his shot, period, in the mid-range, I mean, he knocks him down. He's unselfish. He's a pretty good passer. Obviously, 4.5 assists per game. We're not going to be taking the ball out of LaMelo's hands to let him facilitate. But at the end of the day, like I said, LaMelo goes down, knock on wood, or just needs a rest, he could potentially be that backup point guard at the end of the day. He does know how to pass. He's good executing the pick and roll. And that's pretty much all you need. Just do the simple stuff. But one thing I do like about him, he is a good outlet passer, which is something that definitely fits us, man. We like to get out and run. We like to inbound the ball quick and get out and run. And he can throw those long passes similar to LaMelo. He's a good rebounder. 4 rebounds a game. It's hard over height. So it's like, I'm not going to act like, oh my God, I don't want this kid at all. Bro, if he's there at 6, hell yeah. Hell yeah. He's a good rebounder, which can lead to those great outlet passes. It goes hand in hand. You get the rebound, boom, you can start to break yourself and throw that long outlet pass. He plays passing lanes extremely well. 2.5 steals per game. You can't deny it. Good at stealing on the ball as well. He just has quick hands, man. He actually does get closeout blocks, and I mean, with the highest vertical in the draft class, he gets deflections and blocks, all that stuff, closing out on defenders. So I mean, he's somebody who I think will be able to hold their own. But he's somebody who definitely is going to be a team defender. I wouldn't want him on an island, and I wouldn't necessarily want him beside LaMelo as far as playing defense goes. But I wouldn't be able to deny him at 6. I wouldn't. His cons, he's not very shifty. He could struggle to turn corners against good defenders. Can struggle to create a little bit of separation. But his shot is just that good. He can get it off. Below average point of attack defender. And he gets beat. When he gets beat, he tries to use his hands, which can lead to fouls. Can't guard multiple positions. And that's pretty much what I'm talking about, where I don't really want him beside LaMelo because, I mean, Reed has to guard the one. I'm not putting him on other team shooting guards who are probably the best player on the team. He can only guard one position, and that's going to be opposing point guards. And do I want LaMelo, guarding it's a domino effect by having Reed Sheppard in the backcourt with LaMelo. But yeah, he can't guard multiple positions. He could be targeted defensively. And he can gamble and get burnt when gambling on those steals. So I mean, you know, there's that. But one side note about him, he has no effort issues at all. He has a motor, and that's something that I love in all these prospects. If you got a motor, bro, at the end of the day, you can be a good like TJ McConnell is not a defensive liability. He's not. He holds his own. Like if you have heart and you're scrappy, hey, sometimes that's all it takes. Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't really see him being there at 6. I could see Houston just using their pick and taking him at 3, if they don't get any trade packages that they like. Um, but hey, you never know what's going to happen on draft night. But the Rockets do need shooting. But I can see the Rockets taking Stephon Castle because they need defense beside Jalen Green the same way we want defense beside LaMelo. So it's no telling what the Rockets do at 3. Um, I don't necessarily see him falling past the Spurs at 4, and I damn sure don't see him falling past the Pistons at 5 because they need shooting very badly, as I talked about earlier in this video. So, I mean, hey, bro, I don't see him there at 6. I don't want to trade up for him. I don't want to do that. But if he's there at 6, hell yeah. I don't find it very realistic, which is kind of why I put him towards the back. Last but not least, Zachary Ricochet. And like I said, I was, making some of these draft profiles or whatever you want to call it, before the lottery. When was the lottery? Earlier this month or maybe May. I don't even remember. Like I've kind of been sitting on this content, so I apologize. I should have been got this out. But yeah, when we were picking potentially 3, I thought we were going to be able to get the 3rd pick or something like that because we had won that tiebreaker with Portland. So I'm thinking we're going to be 3, and Ricochet could potentially be there for us. Now at 6, no chance. He's potentially going to go 1 to Atlanta, especially with Sarr coming out saying he wants to be a Wizard, which he might be the first person in history to say he wants to be a Washington Wizard. Interesting stuff. Sarr has not worked out for Atlanta. And apparently Ricochet had a good workout with Atlanta, so I could definitely see him being the number 1 pick. We'll see. We'll see what happens, but I don't see him falling to 6. But anyway, let me talk about him real quick. He's a good shooter. I don't have his percentages up here. Well, I have excellent shooter. I don't have his percentages up here. He can self-create. He's a good finisher. He can get blocks that leads to offense. He has transition scoring. He's clutch at 18, fearless. He's knocking down big shots in big games. He has quick release. Can lead the break, pass in transition. He averaged 11 points per game. I don't have his assist rebound. I don't know why I don't have all this stuff written down up here, so I'm kind of upset with myself because what the fuck. But he is 6'9", 200 pounds. He can execute the pick and roll with the big. Can find open shooters and cutters in half-court offense. He's kind of a point forward. And, he can get blocks on rotations as the low man. Get blocks on drives, on helps, on chase downs. He blocks the ball. He is an athlete, plays the passing lanes, and he uses his size and length well, man, to kind of seal off bigger defenders for steals. Like, when I thought he was going to be at 3, I loved him. Now at 6, it's not really no chance, which is why I'm really not even bothering going too deep into detail on him. And that's everybody, man. I appreciate y'all if y'all stuck through here. I ain't done yet, but I appreciate you if you stuck with me. I am gonna go through a few mock drafts right here from some popular companies just so we can kind of see, what's realistic for us at 6. This is Yahoo Sports. They have Ricochet going first, which is why it's like it really was no point in me talking too much about him. With us at 6, they have Sarr going number 2. They have Reed Shepherd going number 3. And they also have Amen Thompson and Jalen Green, so it's like they need that shooting. They have Stephon Castle going number 4, and that's the thing. The Spurs have number 4. They have number 8. Who knows what they do at 4? I wish we could be in the San Antonio Spurs position to have 2 picks. I would love that. But yeah, they take Stephon Castle at number 4. Klingon goes 5 to the Pistons. I don't necessarily know about that as well. I don't know. I don't necessarily see them taking Klingon with Duran and Isaiah Stewart. I don't know about that, but hey, you never know what the Pistons could do because they pretty much need help everywhere. So I don't know. They could take Buzelis, they could take Cody Williams, but who knows? But with them going Klingon, Yahoo Sports has Matches Buzelis coming to us at 6, which I'm happy about, and then they have Cody Williams going 7th. But yeah, I mean he could slide in nicely beside Brandon Miller at the 4, and pretty much create a 4-out offense for us and rim protection on defense. So that's what they have for us. Let me go to USA Today. And this is like different companies making some of these picks. So I'm just gonna go down to 6. I ain't gonna do too much. USA Today has us taking Donovan Klingon, which I don't like. I don't foresee us doing that, honestly. The Ringer has us taking Stephon Castle. ESPN has us taking Dalton Knecht. So we'll see what happens with that. Let me go to the Athletic. If my computer doesn't fucking blow up here. Let's see. I really hate this fucking computer, bro. That's why I don't even use this shit in my videos. This shit pisses me off. Dude. Anyway, I already was looking at this shit earlier. I think the Athletic has us taking Cody Williams, which actually is like one of the few people that mocked Cody Williams to us. I haven't seen him in a lot of mocks to us. So, for me, as I've talked about him, I'm happy with that. I would be happy with Cody Williams. Okay, my computer just went black. All right. Yeah, I wouldn't mind us taking Cody Williams. I like him a lot. I honestly already looked through all these mock drafts. Most of them have Castle going 4. Okay, the screen's back up now. Get the fuck out of the way. They have Reed Shepherd going 3. Castle going 4, which is in a lot of mocks. They have a trade. The Pistons move up to 5 to get Donovan Klingon. The Grizzlies move up to 5 to get Donovan Klingon and trade with the Pistons. So it's going to be interesting to see where Klingon goes, because I can see Klingon going 2 to the Wizards. I can see him going 3 to the Rockets. The Rockets do have Sengun, so I don't know. But hey, even the Spurs could fuck around and get Klingon at 4 and then address something else at 8. That's the luxury they have with 2. They can get Klingon and kind of try to do the Wemby at the 4, like Anthony Davis with the Lakers. Try to do that. And then for us at 6, they have us taking Dalton Knecht. Frankly, I don't see that happening. I don't see us taking Dalton Knecht over Buzelis. I don't necessarily see that happening. If it did, I wouldn't be super mad, just because, I do feel like I don't want to call us a win now team, but I have the expectation that the Hornets going to make the playoffs this year. I just saw the Pacers go to the Eastern Conference Finals. I saw Orlando Magic have a pretty good performance in the playoffs for their first time. I want to be in the fucking playoffs. So I couldn't be mad at us taking 23-year-old Dalton Knecht, who we know is going to be able to provide something this year. In his SEC games, he averaged 25.5 points a game on 48% from the field, 42% from 3. Like, I wouldn't be mad if we chose him, bro. Him beside Brandon Miller and LaMelo offensively, the spacing would just kind of be crazy for Brandon and LaMelo. I wouldn't be mad, but I just don't necessarily see us taking Knecht over Buzelis with him on the board. But hey, you never know. Buzelis goes 7 to Portland, and Cody Williams goes 8 to the Spurs. Let's look at Fox Sports real quick. I'm trying to wrap this up. They have Ricochet going 1, Star 2, Shepherd 3, Castle 4 to the Spurs again, Buzelis 5 to the Pistons, and it has us taking Cody Williams at 6. So they were the ones that had us take Cody Williams at 6. And like I said, I talked about him, man. I think the versatility on the perimeter beside LaMelo and Brandon is intriguing, bro. The 3 and D, he comes in immediately and provides 3 and D. I know people talking about the shot who he didn't shoot a high volume. He still shot 42%, bro. So that's what they have. ESPN. Let's see real quick. This is their little like fan mock or whatever. Like they just took all the most mock drafts and combined them. Let's see. It says Dalton Knecht, but the most popular was Matches Buzelis as far as I guess who fans want. So yeah, that's kind of what they have going on. But yeah, man, I definitely think that it's gonna be an intriguing Wednesday to see what happens. Um, do we stay put? Do we go up? Do we go down? Do we try to, attach Miles Bridges in some signing trades? He did just kind of put something cryptic on his Instagram story earlier, kind of like control what you can control or whatever. So who knows what that means? Um, I don't know, man. I kind of thought, things were looking up for us keeping Miles because yesterday the Hornets posted like 3 days into the draft. They used Miles Bridges' picture. Miles Bridges doesn't wear number 3. Why is he on that picture? But he was. And then they posted, throwback pictures for everybody on draft night, and they posted Miles as well. And we know throughout the season, the team was kind of hesitant to post Miles. If they did post him, they didn't tag him. So I don't know, posting him twice in one day, I do feel like it meant a little something. But Miles turns around today and posts that little cryptic control what you can control, and who knows what that has anything to do with. But hey, we'll see what happens. A deal could get done with him tomorrow, or on draft day. Who knows? Because you know, the different thing this year was as soon as the finals ended, teams could renegotiate and talk to their own free agents. So as soon as the finals game was up, the Hornets and Miles could start having conversations. So part of that is like maybe something could be done by now, but who knows? We'll see. This video is already long as hell, and I got a lot of editing to do, a lot of highlights to include. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. Um, and I'll see y'all on draft night, man. You already know I'm gonna go live. I might do something with Trust the Buzz and everything. Buzz City, those are my guys. So we're gonna chop it up and see what we do. But I'm definitely gonna go live for the draft. And I'm excited to see what we do, man. At 42, I've seen a few different mocks. I can't think of bro's name, but I've seen bro from Kentucky mocked us a lot. Hey, if Bronny's there at 42, hey, who knows? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I like Harrison Ingram from, I'm a Carolina fan. I obviously got the TR right now. You know what I'm saying? If we took Harrison Ingram at 42, I would like that as well. So, we'll see what we do. Anyways, I'll catch y'all very soon. Until then, peace.